to take you on a tour of our new transit van conversion that we just finished building. It took us about 3 months working through the winter. So for certain projects, like installing the windows, we had to work with Mother Nature. Luckily, it was a pretty mild winter and we got the van done in about 90 days. This is our second van build. We previously did a Ram ProMaster. We really knocked that one out quick. We got it done in about 30 days. And there'll be a link in the description where you can check out that build. Speaking of, this entire build was filmed and broken up into separate videos all along the way. So if you want to check those out, be sure to subscribe to the channel and there'll be a link in the description to the playlist for the entire van build. So this van started as a windowless cargo van and we turned it into everything that we wanted in a van build. So let me take you inside and show you around. All right, so we got a lot of design ideas from our last build. We really liked a lot of the things about it, so we kept them in our new transit build. The reason I went with a transit is because I really liked the driving position versus the ProMaster. It was much more comfortable for me, so that's a decision that everyone has to make. I encourage you to test drive all the different platforms before you settle on your foundation. So just real quick, I'll talk about a couple of upgrades we did to the chassis. So one of them is when we bought the van, we wanted to order one that had every option that we wanted, but it was taking 1 to 2 years for custom ordered transits to come in. So we ended up having a local dealer that had this one on the lot. So we decided that we would just do a lot of the upgrades that we wanted ourselves and save a little bit of money at the time of purchase by doing so. So I installed this aftermarket 12-inch touchscreen radio. It looks very similar to the factory larger screen. It's got a lot more functionality though. Also installed leather wrap steering wheel. Then we just put some seat covers over the factory seats just for a little bit more comfort. I also added these HID factory headlamps since it just came with the regular ones. One of those things that I would have got a custom order had gone through and we waited. So the van itself is a Transit 350 148 extended length. So it's pretty much, and a high roof, so it's the biggest Transit you can buy. All right, so first I'm going to talk about just the basic layout of the van. So we had really lofty goals for what all we were going to be able to fit in here. We wanted a full shower and bathroom, and we also wanted it in a very specific location right here in the middle. So a lot of people, when they build a Transit, will put the bathroom here because it's the easiest spot when it comes to plumbing underneath the van. And with only being a 148-inch wheelbase, you have to deal with the wheel wells being in the way. So we wanted to get a shower, a fridge, a microwave, electrical system. We wanted a dinette with another seat, and we wanted it all on this side of the van. And it literally came down to millimeters. So I would encourage you, before you begin your build, to really plan the whole thing out on paper. So we did install the Scopima swivels on both the front driver and passenger seat, which really opens up the space inside. So you can see, two people can have a nice meal or something at this table here. And the table does fold down. Obviously the seat's not in the way. That way when you're traveling or you just need the space, it folds down and then it folds up and locks very easily. So it was important to us that we be able to use the van all year round, have 4-season capability. So we started by adding a V-Lit gasoline heater. So it's under the seat, back against the wall. There is an outlet here, and there's an outlet in the back in the basement area, and then the intake is on the front over here. We also have a roof air, so if we are on shore power using a generator or just have that kind of battery excess, we can run the AC for a little bit. It is a Hot and Baylor 2800, similar to the one we used in our last van conversion, and it does run on 120 volts. Additionally, we also installed the Max Air Deluxe fan, so when it's not just too hot, this thing does a really good job. Just press the button. It does have a thermostat that you can set. It works really well. And you can run it even when it's raining. Alright, so for the bathroom, we do have a cassette toilet. It's a Thetford curve. that's built into the bathroom. Obviously, we have the waterproof toilet paper dispenser, a regular style RV shower, and then installed a custom-made bath fan. So chose to add this teak bath mat floor. That's really nice for a couple reasons. Number one, the shower drain is actually over here and it had to be on this side due to the plumbing, so it allows the water to flow. It also makes it so when you're using the bathroom and not taking a shower that you don't have to worry about tracking footprints onto the white floor of the shower. It makes it easier to clean. I did consider actually trying to put a black tank and a gray tank under the van. There really just isn't enough room under the Transit, at least with this layout of a bathroom. I was only able to fit a 20-gallon gray water tank under this side of the van. Obviously we have about a 4-gallon black tank on the cassette toilet. And what's nice about the cassette toilet is that you can just easily take it and dump it anywhere. You can carry it into a bathroom versus having to worry about a black tank. There's many different styles of toilets that people choose to use in their vans, if they even have one. This is just what works best for what we do. So for the shower door, we went with a Nautilus and the self-cleaning ones. These are really nice. We used one in our last build and multiple campers that we've had. Alright, so as I said, we also wanted to fit a pretty good sized refrigerator. So you can see we have this really nice 4.5 cubic foot residential style fridge and freezer. And then above it, we have a microwave. It looks like it fits perfectly. That was an accident, but it happens to work out pretty good. And then underneath the fridge, I wanted to have access in this van conversion to any of the electronics that we would need to get to easily. So under here is your 120 volt breakers, and then all of the fuses for the 12 volt system are right here. Everything's labeled. Then I have a manual override switch for the heater, just so I can shut off power to it in the summer completely. So we incorporated this built-in step right here that also acts as a pipe and wiring chase that goes under this part of the van. It ended up working out really well, and it really helps getting into bed. We also kept the bed height not too high. It's still high enough to have a really good sized basement, but we also have a ton of room, headroom, and you don't have to worry about bumping your head. So we did incorporate some slight bump outs in the walls. They don't extend past the exterior wall, but it was important in our ProMaster van build. We did not do that, and although I could lay side to side okay, apparently you stretch out in the middle of the night, and I often felt cramped. So with this setup here, it gave us about 7 or 8 more inches, which is just enough to where we didn't have to trim anything off the mattress and feel very comfortable sleeping in this van. So we opted not to put any shelving or cabinets above the bed, just so we had a bunch of headroom and it felt open. Obviously, if you're going to full-time this van, you could probably add more storage here to give yourself quite a bit more storage. But we do have this row of cabinets all the way down this side of the van. Okay, so all of the tabletop and countertop surfaces I handmade out of a slab of acacia butcher block and then finished them with polyurethane. We have the stainless steel sink, and then we have a propane cooktop. Chose to go with a propane cooktop in this build versus the induction cooktop, just for diversity in our fuel source. That way, if we wanted to be off grid for a long time, we have something that didn't use much power. So also for hot water, under here we have a water heater. It works really well. It's about 6 gallons. It can either run on 120 volt AC, or you can see it's got coolant lines that run from the engine that it will heat it up while you drive. The water heater is insulated very well, and you can go for a drive the night before and still have enough hot water to take a shower in the morning. So all the lighting in the van is obviously 12 volts. Little recessed LED lights in the bathroom. There's a dimmer. There's also a dimmer for overhead. A lot of the controls are right here in this area. We also have lights on the outside of the van, underneath the van, and even an awning light. So the awning is a Thule 10-foot awning. It is manual. It's really nice to have So down here we have more storage, obviously under the sink. And that's a funnel. If you know what that is, you know. If you don't, look it up. Plenty of storage in 3 drawers here. And we built another drawer over here. We also have a pass through to the basement here. Switch under here and in the back. And I'll show you more about the basement here in just a second. All right, so for the power system, we went with a full Victron system, and we're using this eChrono GX touchpad. Has a lot of functionality built into it. Just a couple of the highlights. So obviously we have temperature sensors on the outside, so it's showing 61 degrees. We have one in the network area, which I'll show you in a second. This is our inside temperature, and then we have our refrigerator temperature here. You can set custom alarms, so like if the refrigerator stopped working, it would let you know. This is all network connected, so there's a cell phone app and desktop applications. On the roof, we have 400 watts of solar, and we have 60 amps worth of battery-to-battery charging off the van alternator. So even if it's not sunny, just start the van and you're charging at 60 amps. The Victron inverter has a built-in 120 amp battery charger if you're plugged into shore power. So in this cabinet here, this is our network area. So obviously this took a lot of planning with the wiring. This is a security DVR system. This is a MoFi router. Basically runs all of the internet and network for the van. It does have a built-in SIM card, so you always have your own internet service. And there's our antennas on the roof. So there's even a temperature sensor in here, so if it gets too hot in here, a fan will turn on, and this is all run by the Victron Chrono system. Under the counter here, there's more light controls. And we even have this really nice RGB light that you can change the color and the pattern for at night. Also have under cabinet lighting. The water heater controls 120 volt outlet and DC charging capability. Alright, so something that I really wanted in the van was cameras all the way around. That way, if you're either away from the van or in the van at night, depending on where you're staying, you have the capability to see what's going on. So you see they're pulled up on this TV that's in the van, which is also just a smart TV. So you can see we have front, rear, and both side cameras. So if you're lying in bed at night, you hear something outside, you can just flip on the monitor and you have all 4 camera views. Maybe it's too dark out, hit this button here and it turns on all the floodlights all the way around the van. It'll light everything up so you can see what's going on. This also has a remote control, so you can operate it from 1 or 2 remotes. So if you go around the driver's side of the van, you can see we've got a city water inlet right here for if we're at a campground. Also have our Furrion 30 amp shore power connection here with our twist lock cable. And then our gray water tank has a standard RV style dump valve, and it also has the Valterra 3/4 inch garden hose adapter, so you can use a smaller hose to empty it if necessary. We keep all of our sewage hoses back here in this Valterra storage compartment that's mounted under the rear of the van. All right, so around back, this is kind of where all the cool stuff lives. So here in the basement, you can see there's quite a bit of storage space that we're able to keep. We've got a little ladder mounted over here that helps get the awning out, as well as the awning tool. We have a 36-gallon freshwater tank that's in here. Here's the gravity fill for the freshwater tank. And then we do have a quick connect outdoor shower with the hose stored here in this pocket on the door. And like I said, this is another way to turn on the water pump. This is a sight window so you can see the tank. And then obviously there's access. You can reach in here to drain the tank and reach all the valves. On this side of the van over here, this is our light switch turn on right here. We have a 12 volt power connector. This is all of the circuit breakers for things that you need to be able to just turn off quickly. For instance, this is our battery to battery, solar. This is all the power going to the whole cabin. Main battery disconnect, then 120 volt outlet. So underneath we put on these sliding doors, these magnetic sliding doors, to kind of house all the electronics. So we have 2 lead time, 230 amp hours, so a total of almost 500 amp hours of battery power. I've got this custom wired manual switch that if something were to happen to the inverter, you still had shore power, you could force it on to shore power. So it's important to have diversity in our energy sources. That's why I said we have 3 different ways to get power. You have solar, you have alternator, and you have shore power. So over on this side, so we have our bus bars, then we have our solar charge controller, charges at 30 amps, our 2 Tri-Smart for 60 amps worth of battery-to-battery charging, and then we have another Tri-Smart which acts as a voltage regulator for all of the electronics in the van itself. Basically stabilizes and regulates the voltage. That way you don't have any flickering lights or other power induced problems. So this is that other outlet for our gasoline heater, and what's nice about having it under here is not only does it provide heat for under the bed to make it a comfortable experience, but the air keeps moving and comes up the area behind the bed, which is kind of the coldest area of the van in the winter, is near the back doors because it's the least insulated out of the whole van. So it helps just keep the whole van nice and warm in the winter. So for the floor, which is basically what we started with, we just used 1 solid sheet of vinyl flooring. In our last van, we did the plank flooring, and even though we glued it down, extreme temperature fluctuations, it still likes to pull apart and stretch and then compress. So by using just 1 solid sheet, you don't have any of those problems. So we also added this metal overhead storage shelf, which is pretty much a necessity in here to take advantage of the wasted space. And it's a really good storage space for our van essentials, insulated window covers, which we have a window cover for every window in the van, except for this one here, but we did order custom day-night blind, but we're still waiting on it to come in for this window. All right, well, thanks for coming along on the tour of our van build. Like I said, there'll be links in the description below for the entire build series for you to check out, and also put all the products that we use to build the van, because a lot of people ask me, you know, for a specific link to something they saw in the video that they want to use. So be sure to check out the description. All that stuff will be there. If you have any questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you. Be sure to like the video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. And thanks for watching. And until next time, we'll see you later.